All right, everybody. So today, part one of your project is due. And so what that means is you need to have your draft on graph paper like I did here. And you also need to have the measurements for each room. Now, I know that some of your rooms might not look, as perfectly rectangle as mine. I'll show you what to do in that case. But for each and every room, I need some kind of dimensions. Now, remember, I decided to multiply each square by 3 feet. And so I calculated each and every one of my rooms by doing that. So if my sitting room is 5 by 8, I need to multiply 5 times 3, which is 15, 8 times 3, which is 24. Now the next step that we're going to be doing is calculating the area for each and every one of our rooms. So the rectangles and the squares are going to be the easiest ones. My closet dimensions got a little smudgy here, but basically for rectangles and squares, all you have to do is multiply the dimensions by each other. So remember to, calculate how big each room is by scaling it. Each one of my squares is one square is equal to 3 feet. So once I have my measurements, 21 times 24 equals 504 square feet. My sitting room is 15 by 24, so I do 15 times 24 to get the area of 360 feet squared. So I did the same thing for each and every one of my rectangular rooms. So I had a couple questions about closets. If you didn't do a closet in your room, that's fine, but I did. So it's a little bit tricky. For this bedroom 2 over here, remember that bedrooms, they have closets in them, right? And so this whole bedroom plus the closet would count as one area. Now, all I did was count the squares, 1, 2, 3, 4 times 3 is 12 feet by 5 feet. Times 3 is 15. So 12 times 15 is 180 feet squared. Now, my master bedroom over here has a separate walk-in closet, so I had to take that area separately. So I did my master bedroom, and then off to the side is my walk-in closet. It's 9 by 9. That's an 81 feet squared area. Now, when you get to triangles, remember the area of a triangle is 1/2 of the base times the height. Now, I calculated my base and my height by just counting the squares, multiplying it by 3. So my base, since these squares were 7, 7 times 3 is 21 feet. The height is 7 squares, so that is 21 feet as well. 21 times 21. Half that gives me my area of 220.5 feet squared. As far as circles go, now it really just depends on how you did your circle. If you did something that's a little bit tricky to find the area for, I would suggest maybe modifying it to make it easier for you. Now let's start off with my round windows. So it's kind of tricky to see here, and I'd like to go over this and, do another copy neater, but I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'm going to consider this a full circle just to make my life easier. Now what that means is I need to find the radius, because remember it's pi r squared is the area. Well, I need to find my radius. So I notice my circle is 1, 2, 3 units wide. That's my diameter. All right, so remember that 3 units wide is 3 times 3. So it's 9 feet long ways, but I don't care about the diameter. I need the radius. Well, remember the radius is half of diameter. So my diameter was 3. That means my radius is 1.5. If I start in the middle of the circle, it's about 1.5 units long. Now I have to take that 1.5 and multiply it by 3 because I'm multiplying every square by 3. When I do 1.5 times 3, I get 4.5 feet for my radius, okay? So to find the area of this whole circle, I would do pi times radius squared. Pi is 3.14 times 4.5 squared. If you don't know what squared is, I just need you to multiply it by itself, okay? So 3.14 times 4.5 times 4.5. We should already know what that is by now. When I did that, I got 63.6 feet squared. This one was the same, so I labeled it like so. Now, if you have sections of circles, sectors of circles, most everybody that I've seen has done a half of a circle. And so what you have to do is you'll get the area by using the same formula over here. But since I have half of a circle here, I'm going to divide my area by 2. So let's start by finding the radius. When I counted, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My radius is 5, but remember I'm multiplying everything by 3. So that's really 15 feet. So my radius is 15 feet. I tried to get it as circular as possible. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my radius is 5, which is 5 squares, which is 15 feet. So I would do pi times r squared, because that's my formula, 3.14 times 15 squared. That gives me 706.5. But remember, that would be for a whole circle. I don't have a whole circle here. I have half of a circle. So I take that 706.5, divide it by 2 because I have half of a circle, which gives me 353.25 feet squared. All right, so if, for instance, you have some weird shapes for your rooms, I've come across a lot of people that do. So let me show you an example. All right, so here's an example. I just kind of sketched this one up of, let's just say this was a living room, right? If you have, irregularly shaped rooms, what you have to do is divide them into sections that you can find the area of. And so if I look at this, I notice that I have a rectangle right here and another one here. Just pretend that's straight. And then I have a third rectangle here. So if I have an oddly shaped room, what I'm going to have to do is divide it into sections I do know how to take the area of. So this is 4 squares by 2. I would do 4 times 2, to find that area. Depending on what you multiplied each square by, obviously the numbers are going to be different. Then I would find the area of this rectangle. So just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to multiply everything by 2. So let's say 1 square equals 2 feet. And so the way I would find that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4. So this is 4 by 8 feet. I would do 4 times 8, which is 32 square feet. All right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This is 10 feet by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 10 times 12, that's 120 feet squared. All right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. So I would do 12 times 22. Let me pull out a calculator. 12 times 22 is 264 feet squared. And so what I have to do now is I have to take all 3 of those numbers, 32 plus 120 plus 264. I'm going to add all these up, 32 plus 120 plus 264. And when I do that, my area for this whole entire room is 416 feet squared. All right, so if you have irregularly shaped rooms, you have to divide it into sections that you do know how to calculate, and once you have them all, you add them up. Same if you have a shape that's similar to this. Hopefully you can see it. It looks like a square or a rectangle combined with a triangle. Let me make it a little bit darker so you can see. All right, so that part is obviously a rectangle and a triangle, so I would divide it into sections here. All right, and I'm going to keep my 1 square equals 2 feet. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. This is 18 feet by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. So I've got an 18 by 22 foot room. I'm going to do 18 times 22. And when I do that, I get 396 square feet. Now for the triangle on the bottom, remember the area for triangles is 1/2 of the base times the height. So base, it would start here, here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 18. My base is 18 feet because I'm multiplying everything by 2. And my height is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Height is 12. So I would do 1/2 of 18 times 12. 18 times 12 first, which is 216. I want 1/2 of 216. And when I do that, I get areas equal to 108 feet squared. So now I have to take those two numbers. I'm going to take that 396 plus the 108. I'm going to add those two up, 396 plus 108. And when I do that, I get the whole area of the entire room, which is 504 square feet. All right, so if you have weird shaped rooms, you have to section them off into shapes that you do know and take the area separately. Once you have them, you add them up and you will get the total area.